Good morning. I'm Scott Redler, Chief Strategic Officer with T3Live.com.
And I'm Alex Deal with The Street, and together we bring you Morning Call Express. Scott, let's get to it. Monday was kind of a volatile day, but we have the Dow over that 12,000 level, the S&P over 1260. How constructive was the action on Monday?
It was very constructive, and it was kind of a gut check for the bulls. I know I came in long a lot of stock, and when we went down, I sold a little bit because I could be very flexible, I could be very quick, but when we held 1235, when we held that important support level again, I re-entered, repositioned, and now it seems like we're going to break this wedge to the upside. I think we get resolution today.
So this is actual real strength. This is not just short covering here at this point, would you say?
At this point, I think there's commitment to this move. If you take a quick look at the chart of the S&P, you'll see every dip has been bought, every retracement has been shallow. This is where the market started the rally. This was that outside day, that day of importance, the day to take notice I talk about. Here was some commitment to the move. Here is when we broke this small downtrend, and now we have this upper wedge. If you remember, we had that harsh two-day sell-off. We held that 38.2% retracement, showing commitment. And then yesterday, we held this three-day support, which was around 1235, 1240. And now we're opening above this 1265. And if we could stay above this 1265 for the first 30 minutes, I think we're going to be on our way back to that 1292 pivot high we saw a week or so ago.
All right, so Monday you said that you were long about, what, 4 or 5 stocks, and then you were going to be shorting the S&P, the spiders, just for some hedge. What would you do today then on this open?
I'm going to look to see if I can add to any of these positions for momentum because I see a lot of tight price patterns starting to get some momentum. Yesterday we talked about Google, we talked about Apple, and Google actually ignited. I got to show you this pattern because this is what traders look for. Finally, Google traded above this 600 area that we talked about. This was that earnings gap. Took a long time to absorb it, and traders have been watching this 598 to 602 to add for momentum. We closed at 608. I now think Google takes out the highs of the year.
And not to be the downbeat guy here, but you know, Apple closed below 400, hit that 396 level. Is that a negative for the markets overall, or are you just kind of ignoring Apple now? I mean, it was your go-to stock.
Well, Apple right now is on the B list. I have an A list. You want to be in my club, you want to be on the A list right now, but sometimes you have to be on the B and the C list while you wait in the back. And Apple right now is in the box. It's a B-list situation until it starts getting back above that 403, 409. Yesterday, I was actually short Apple a little bit. I thought maybe it would break below, you know, the downside of this box when the market was coming in, but then it regrouped, closed at 399. I'm actually long some, only small. I think if it gets above 403.50, you could cheat and add a little bit, but the real level here on Apple is around 409 to 410, and that would negate some of that earnings gap.
Does it worry you, though, that it's not rallying with the rest of its peers like a Google?
I just think that it's so overowned, and they still have a lot to prove. You know, Steve Jobs passed away, unfortunately. You had a little bit of the fumble in the 4S iPhone as far as people were expecting the iPhone 5. I do like 2 other stocks that I'm going to be watching for a market barometer. I think IBM looks good. It's held that uptrend. If you take a quick look at the chart of IBM, it looks like it's ready to take out this 188 level. And then also Qualcomm had a great report. Looks good. You know, here was that earnings gap holding in there above this 67. You can get some momentum here. So there are other stocks that are acting well, and then maybe Apple comes back into play when it's done consolidating. What
about oil here? I mean, it's holding up over $96 a barrel here, even though we still don't have complete resolution in Europe. It's kind of an amazing move, and Brent was up 5% over 116 at this point. It was interesting to see how the oil stocks kind of correlated. You had Halliburton was one of the first to go up in the sector yesterday, but then you had Hess, which didn't move with the rest of the integrateds. Does this make a good trade?
As of now, people are focusing on this group, and it's acting well. OAHs didn't show relative strength with the XLE, you know, in the beginning of this rally, but it's starting to strengthen here. It's holding higher. So if you're a market timer, it doesn't matter if it wasn't at the top end of the range. You could have made money in the bottom. If you look at here at the OAHs, you will see that you have a nice tight wedge pattern here also. Move off the lows. It's trying to absorb this resistance because there was a lot of it here, and if we could start getting above 130, you're going to see a move back to this 135, and I think at some point this year we could see 140 to 145. So looking in that group, find some relative strength, and you'll get some alpha.
And then it's kind of the same story here with gold. I mean, gold is trying to break that $1,800 level and hold it. Has tried twice before and couldn't get it done. And the gold stocks, a lot of them are making 52-week highs. Do you think that the metal and the gold stocks are overbought at this point, or is there extra juice?
I think that gold and silver both had big-time moves. On that Tuesday, remember last week when the market was getting crushed, gold went positive. We talked about the good book says go long it. So for a trade, the GLD, it was the right time right here. That was that day. and now look where it's at. This is a big time move into resistance. If you're trading it in tier 2, sell some, but stay long gold and silver. If you have a macro portfolio approach, it's been working very well. If you're trading it, maybe look for a cute sell around here because it's come a long way.
Right, so you do think it might take a breather here maybe?
Yes, and the gold miners, kudos to you. You've been all over them fundamentally. Finally, they're acting better. GOLD, and then Newmont was explosive the past few days.
So you can't add there, right? I mean, you don't want to get into the chasing idea.
Yeah, you don't want to chase excitement, so you
Okay.
just have to continue to stay prudent.
All right, and we will be right. And if you want to get all the rest of the stocks Scott's going to be trading today as well as some other good picks for today, you can join us for the entire morning call on the street.